They tried to carve a fence straight through my family's lake cabin, stole my road, and slapped me with a $200,000 bill, betting I'd fold and walk away. What they didn't count on was that I had the title, the evidence, and enough grit to burn their crooked HOA empire to the ground. By the time it was over, their dynasty was rubble, and my cabin still stood proud. My name's Jake Turner, and this is the story of how I faced down the Pine Hollow HOA and came out on top. It began on a Saturday morning. I was driving out to the cabin, a sanctuary my grandfather built in the 1960s, before anyone had ever heard of a homeowners association. As I turned down the dirt road, I caught the piercing whine of chainsaws. My gut clenched. I floored it, dust flying behind me, and what I saw when I pulled up made my stomach drop. A massive gray fence cut straight through the cabin, splitting porch from living room. Fresh, private HOA property, signs hung like insults, and two workmen hammered away as if it all belonged to them. I jumped from my truck. "What the hell is this?" I shouted. One of them, a thick-set guy with a smug grin, shrugged. "Orders from the HOA. Not your land anymore. Talk to Diane." I knew that name. Diane Kessler, the HOA president with a reputation for ruling Pine Hollow like her own kingdom. Right then, a polished white SUV rolled up, and she emerged. Blazer crisp, hair like a statue, eyes sharp with disdain. She looked me over as if I was trash on her lawn. "You're trespassing, Mr. Turner," she said, sugar in her voice but steel underneath. "Your cabin blocks our road and lake access. You owe $200,000 in fees and damages. You have 30 days. My fist clenched, heat rising in my chest. "This is my family's land," I said firmly. Her smirk widened. "Then you can argue in court. Or sell." She turned away, certain I'd crumble. But looking at that fence slicing through my grandfather's handiwork, the cabin where I learned to fish, where we told stories under the stars, I knew one thing. I wasn't backing down. I had the deeds, the surveys, everything, and I was going to war. That night, at the rickety kitchen table, I dug through Grandpa's files. Every document was there: maps, titles, notarized signatures proving our ownership of the road, the lakefront, all of it. I called my buddy Nate, a lawyer seasoned in property disputes. "They ran a fence through your house?" he asked, half laughing, half shocked. "And now $200,000? I sent him photos of the fence, the signs, the damage. "This isn't just shady, it's criminal," he said. Each snapshot I took felt like ammunition being loaded. But intimidation came fast. The next day, I got a text from an unknown number. "Sell now or regret it." That night, footsteps circled the cabin, slow and deliberate. I grabbed my flashlight, heart hammering, but found nothing except a new warning nailed to the fence: "Trespassers prosecuted." My fear didn't weaken me. It sharpened me. If they want to scare me, they'd only stoke the fire. The following morning, I marched into their pristine HOA office. Trimmed shrubs, flags, the works. Diane sat behind a glossy desk, smug as ever. I slapped my deed down. "This is mine. You got no claim." She leaned back, amused. "Our survey says otherwise. That road's ours. You're squatting." I barked a laugh. "My papers beat your survey. We'll see each other in court." She tilted her head. "Courts cost money. Sell, and I'll be generous." I leaned in, eyes locked on hers. "You picked the wrong guy." Then I walked out. Later, my neighbor Clara pulled me aside. "Careful, Jake," she whispered. "Diane's been muscling people out for years, buying dirt cheap, flipping for profit. You're just her latest target." She pressed a mug of coffee into my hand, her fingers shaking. "Your grandpa never gave an inch. Neither should you." I nodded, my resolve hardening. Soon the harassment escalated. Spray-painted threats covered the fence. Leave or lose. Trail cameras I set up caught hooded figures sneaking onto my property at night. I turned the footage over to the sheriff, but he said it wasn't enough to pin directly on the HOA. Then came their boldest move. One morning, I awoke to roaring engines, trucks, bulldozers, Diane's SUV leading the charge. She strutted up, clipboard in hand. "We've got a court order. This cabin's coming down today." My stomach dropped, but I stood firm, waving my deed. "This is mine. You can't touch it." She flashed a piece of paper. "This says otherwise. Move or be moved." The bulldozer's blade inched forward, steel glinting. I planted myself in its path, arms wide. "You'll have to drive over me." The driver hesitated. Diane barked, "Do it." But before he could, sirens wailed. Sheriff's deputies swarmed in. One officer studied my paperwork, then turned to her. "This is valid ownership. Your order is garbage. You're trespassing." Diane sputtered, but her crew backed down, machine silenced. Her eyes shot daggers. "This isn't over." I smirked. "Bet it is." I thought the fight had peaked. I was wrong. One night, my phone buzzed with a photo of my cabin, flames flickering. I bolted outside to the smell of gasoline and fire climbing my walls. I grabbed the hose, spraying frantically, shouting hoarse. Clara arrived in her truck with a fire extinguisher, and together we fought until the fire department arrived. Most of the cabin was saved, but the porch was ash. Investigators confirmed arson. My cameras caught the culprits, hooded men, one face partially exposed. Deputies traced them back to the HOA with burner phones, receipts for gas. Diane was arrested, shrieking denials as cuffs snapped on her wrists. Her board members toppled with her. Court was brutal. I stood beside Nate, armed with deeds, maps, photos, videos, sheriff reports. Diane strutted and polished as ever, but when the judge saw the arson footage, her face drained of color. "This property belongs to Mr. Turner," the judge ruled. The HOA committed harassment, trespass, and arson. Damages awarded in full. Gasps rippled through the courtroom as Diane and her cronies were led away in disgrace. The HOA dissolved overnight. Residents revolted, furious their dues had bankrolled crime. Headlines screamed, "HOA scandal, arson plot exposed in Pine Hollow." Insurance and damages paid for rebuilding. Neighbors rallied, pitching in to restore the cabin stronger than ever. One evening, as we sat on the new porch overlooking the water, Clara said softly, "Your grandpa would be proud." I nodded, watching the sunset ripple across the lake, feeling his presence in the breeze. Then, a week later, another text lit my phone. "You won this time. Watch the water." I stared at the lake, calm but suddenly menacing, its depths hiding secrets. Was it a final echo of Diane's allies, or the start of something new? I don't know, but I do know this. I saved my home, no matter the cost. The question is, how far would you go to protect yours?